All right, week 4 of the NFL is in the books and week 5 is underway, and we got the top 5 week 5 player waiver wire ads right after this. What's going on, football, fantasy football world? It is the WayneBreezie, Crystal Peachy B. This is What's Your Fantasy Football Show. For those that don't know, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. We've been here all off season. Week 5, we're headed into week 5. Peachy, how's the NFL and the fantasy football world matching up for you right now? Like, how well are you doing in your leagues?
Yeah, I'm not doing good in the majority of my leagues, as you'll find out why with the injury report and just everything. It's also the first week of the bye week.
Correct.
Week 5 bye. 4 teams on there, so that's also going to make things difficult. It's just been a wild and wacky fantasy 4 weeks so far. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Injuries are piling up, as you guys know. Crystal will get into that very shortly. For me, fantasy football, man, it's rough, man. It's rough. You know, I gotta remember to just do max 3 leagues and not 13, which is good because I usually do 20.
Right.
And I trimmed it down to 13. 3 leagues. We'll do nitty gritty. We'll do What's Your Fantasy Football League. You guys can join that. And then I got to do one of my money leagues. Maybe 4, 5. You know what? 5 at the, see how I'm just upping it. 5 for me at the max from now on. No more public leagues. No more leagues to just, I'm just gonna mock draft. I know it gets boring. Mock draft is boring. You don't really get the grit of what you're trying to do. But you know what? I'm just gonna mock draft. Not gonna do any more drafts because I'm having issues right now. Like serious issues right now. Guys, welcome to the show once again. Let's go ahead and get down to it. We got the injury report. We want to get right down to it, man. There's gonna be some players that are injured that you're gonna want to pick up. Peachy, that you're gonna have to figure out. Like, we start with that major injury over there in Kansas City.
Yeah. Major injury over there in Kansas City, wide receiver Rashee Rice. So they are not putting him on IR yet, but he is going to be out for week 5. So at least for week 5, you're definitely going to want to find a good wide receiver replacement for him. Hopefully we can help you with the waiver wire, kind of get acclimated with some of these receivers that you might want to pick up. But Rashee Rice is definitely out for week 5. So we have, speaking of wide receivers, we have Mike Evans, who is in limited practice, still up in the air. He has a knee and a calf. Then we have Christian Watson, who has a mild high ankle sprain, and surprisingly, they're not putting him on IR. They are going to just monitor it and see how it goes. Now, I wonder, Breezie, if this comes from them with their quarterback.
What do you mean?
As far as him, also not being placed on IR, was just out a few weeks. So they're just trying to, prevent these players from being, just in case something happens, because their quarterback came back. Now, did he look good? No, he didn't. Do I think he should have played? Probably not. And from all reports out of Green Bay, not sure that it was the best idea to put him out there, especially when they had a quarterback that was winning games. So time will tell on that. Another wide receiver we have is the wide receiver kick returner Cordell Patterson. Out. He is out in Pittsburgh for week 5 right now.
Damn.
They have ruled him out.
He was balling.
I know.
Okay.
He was. The running back Jaylen Warren, speaking of Pittsburgh, could play, could possibly play. A huge surprise running back. Well, sort of a surprise. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is making his way back.
Oh, good.
He's
for
the one that
Kansas
was
City
dealing
Chiefs.
with the PTSD and is, just having some mental things going on. He's set to make his return to practice. So only practice. The Chiefs are going to take it as slow as they possibly can with him and make sure that everything's good for him. We have a tight end out of San Francisco, actually George Kittle, who has ribs, and he's day-to-day. So hopefully he'll be good to go for week 5. It's looking like he will.
I wouldn't worry about any
Just
day-to-day players.
Tape them suckers up, and let's go.
Whoever's listed day-to-day on the injury report, have no fear.
Yeah. Wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr.,
I didn't
which
even know
has
he
been
still
out
played football.
with an undisclosed injury, is set to practice.
What team does he even play for? Oh, the Dolphins. Like, I didn't even know he was still in the NFL, but okay.
A big one, though, that may cause some attention is Aaron Rodgers,
Oh,
who
okay.
has some knee swelling. And he said himself on the Pat McAfee show that he definitely is suffering for some knee swelling. So that's definitely something to monitor with him. Quarterback Russell Wilson, they're trying to get him reps from a live pocket. So I don't know what's going on. I think that might have more to do with just trying to keep the team, their opponent guessing. I think Justin Fields is still going to be out there. Jonathan Taylor has a mild high ankle sprain. Same ankle that he messed up before.
Damn.
But the team is saying that he should be okay. Nick Chubb is making his return to practice this week, which will help the Browns out a lot because they need it, because they're going through a lot of injuries.
He may practice, but I would be cautioned to see. I doubt he plays.
Oh, no. Yeah, he's just making his return to practice. Raheem Mostert has been ruled out for week 5. Even though he was questionable for week 4, he's out for week 5. And Jonathan Brooks, even though a lot of people are optimistic, is not making his return to practice this week.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Is there more players? Because I got some takes. It's time. It's time to part ways with Jonathan Brooks, and But the thing is, if you got him and you got him on a reserve spot, that's fine.
Yeah.
If you got him and you're playing in a league that's got no reserve spots, and you're just waiting for this kid to return, it's time to let him go.
Yeah.
I got Rashee Rice. I'm gonna let him go. I have no idea how long he's gonna be out, and if he's not going to be on the IR, you got to find a way to part ways. I literally, just parted ways with Rashee Rice. Why? Because I need help now. At this point, if you're in a league, you need to replace that now. Now, you talked about Christian Watson. I don't see him playing for a while. They got receivers out the freaking yin-yang. We're going to talk about a couple of them tonight. And Jaden Reed is their number 1 receiver. It's crazy. So you mentioned Jordan Love, though. You said he didn't look good. He didn't look good early, but he finished great. This dude is a top scoring player. He's one of our top 10 players this week. So I'm like, wow. But overall, man, these injuries suck, but you got to pay attention to trades, waivers, everything. Because if you're trying to compete and you're trying to contest, you're going to have to figure out a way to replenish some of these players that are going to be, and these are big players. I mean, just imagine, I got a league with Rashee Rice in a couple of my leagues. Unfortunately, he gets injured. And that's the week, especially if you didn't draft receiver first, especially if you went running backs, then yeah. And so you got to settle for the second tier wide receivers, and he was one of the best options. But just think about it. I think in one league, I probably have him and Pacheco. I'm just damn. The Kansas City Chiefs are just not it as far as scoring. They're winning games, but they're not helping you win in your fantasy football league. So it's going to be rough. Let's get to the top 10 scoring leaders of this week. We got Derrick Henry, man. King Henry leads the NFL in rushing as of right now. He had 35.9 points. 35.9 points against a decent, pretty up until then, great Buffalo's Bills defense. It's crazy. We do need to talk about the Buffalo Bills too, because if you do have their defense, this might not be the week to play him, because Von Miller has been suspended for 4 weeks due to the NFL
personal conduct.
is it personal conduct? I thought it was battery or something. Like it was like the
Yeah,
story
something
stems
like
from
that,
when
yeah.
he did something very bad, like a couple of years ago, 2022, 2023. Anyway, he's going to be suspended for the for the next 4 games. And so if you're doing your pick'ems and you're thinking about the Buffalo Bills and they got to take on who the Bills got this week, good Lord, they got the Texans and they're on the road. They just got
Yes.
mollywopped on the road in Baltimore. Don't see them winning in Texas and Houston as well. So pay attention to that. That defense is going to be in shambles. Could be another bad day for, Josh Allen. It's weird. Super weird. Bad day for Josh Allen. Anyway, number 2, you got Kenneth Walker the fourth. Put up 33.6 points. Good Jesus. These guys are cashing in. Anybody over the 30-point mark is cashing in. Like straight up. And the crazy thing is, I didn't even know he was going to play. Guess where he was?
Either.
Bench.
On my bench.
Bench.
Yep.
Nico Collins is continuing to be the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL as of right now, if I'm not mistaken. 33.1 points. He is consistent week in and week out. Remember, it was weird because they got Diggs, they got Tank Dell, who didn't play last week, and then there was Nico. They just signed Nico to the big contract. They traded for Stephon Diggs, and we're like, is Nico's production going to go down? How about it went up?
Yes. It's even better.
How about it went up? We got some quarterbacks on here, Peachy. Number 4. You just talked about your guy, Justin Fields. 32 points. Now, listen. If you got Justin Fields on your roster, it's a tough one for me because it's like it ain't going to start right. It's going to be ugly. But for some reason, Justin Fields has been finishing games. And so, like, if you have him, if you don't have him, if you need a quarterback, the bye weeks are starting, you might want to try to pick him up. We'll talk about some waiver wire ads, but Justin Fields might be a good pickup. Jordan Love, I felt like I drafted him and cut him because I didn't know how long he was going to be out, and now he's gone. That's what happens when you cut these, you let these players go early, and they don't go to the IR. It's just unfortunate. 31.2 points for Jordan Field. How about this one, Peachy? DeAndre Swift is number 6. He finished with 29.5 points. Right before 1 o'clock, I cut him to pick up another running back because DeAndre Swift hasn't done diddly squat.
Anything.
And then he does that.
Yes. That's kind of like the Kenneth Walker deal.
Well, Kenneth Walker's a little different. He was injured. DeAndre Swift has been healthy.
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker was injured weeks 2 and 3. So he's been out. It's been a Zach Charbonnet show. A little different story. This dude has been playing every game.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he has not been fully activated as what we thought he was going to be until I cut him. Can't make this shit up. Number 7, Baker Mayfield. A lot of quarterbacks up here. Baker Mayfield was baking. Bacon. Like, just cooking. He cooked that defense last week. He's probably going to cook the defense he's playing against this week. I think they're playing the Falcons. This could be a good game. They're on the road, I believe. But Baker Mayfield, 28.9 points. Look, another quarterback. Jared Goff, number 8. 27.2 points. This dude, Jared Goff, did he go 16 for 16 or 17 for 17 or something?
18 for 18.
Either way, he didn't miss a pass.
Right. And
caught a touchdown pass.
And what was hilarious about that is his coach gave the game ball to someone else. He didn't even know that he went 18 for 18 until he got up there when he was doing the presser. And somebody mentioned it. He said, "Oh, shoot, I should have gave the game ball to him, I guess." Crazy.
Some players knew that he went 18 for 18. David Montgomery knew. He called. He said, I heard him on the radio today. He said, "You're going to put some respect on my quarterback's name." But it's crazy. Like, what a second half. Jared Goff, 27.2 points. They have a bye week, so pay attention. They're on a bye week. Number 9, Jaden Reed. That's one of those Green Bay Packer receivers that when Jordan Love is out there, that's his guy. That's the dude. 27.1 points. And we cap off the top 10 PPR scoring leaders this week with Jaden Daniels with 25 points. All right. So those are your top 10 PPR scoring leaders for week 4. PGA, like, any surprises on this top 10 list other than you talk about Kenneth Walker because we didn't know he was going to play.
Right. It would have to be Swift because, like you said, he's not done anything. And then all of a sudden he just popped off, and then I don't even have him. I think I dropped him like 2 weeks ago. I want to say I did
I mean, the
to get
production's
somebody
been low.
else.
It's just a luck, man. I'd be
Yeah.
like, dang, dang, I just had him, and he was in, and he was starting, and then I was like, nah, he ain't gonna do nothing.
Yeah, I know.
And then he does everything, and they win.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes. All right, so those are your top 10 scoring leaders. Let's get to the waiver wire pickups for week 5. Let's not waste any time. We got this. We got this. I'll be trying to figure out, how do I get our pictures up here properly? All right, so I feel like we're down there. We are. So let me go ahead and remove this banner. But yeah, so I'm thinking waiver wire this week's gonna look a little different. I think as far as quarterback, you gotta go Justin Fields, PG. He put up 32 points. He's rushing for touchdowns. He's keeping drives alive. Do you think the Steelers are finally just allowing him to play his kind of a game, or what are you thinking?
Yes, because like you were saying, when you first, have Fields on your lineup and you're like, okay, and you're watching the game, but for some reason he just turns it on, and that's when he plays Fields ball. He goes out there, runs, does whatever he needs to do, and gets some touchdowns. So
Yeah, I'm saying he's probably available in like every league and or just on the waiver. Like somebody might have picked him up a week ago, but if he's available and you need a quarterback like me, you might want to go out, grab Justin Fields. If you have another quarterback, and look at the matchup this week. Look at their matchup. They got a matchup this week against the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys is like the worst defense in the NFL.
ooh, and they just got worse.
And it just got worse because they lost DeMarcus Lawrence. Now he's got put on the IR. We don't know the status of what Michael Parsons is going to be.
Right.
And so, yes, good point. My thing is Dallas is undefeated on the road. So that's going to be a tough game. But I think with the Steelers, you might want to pick up Justin Fields. Like, just pick him up, see how it works out for you. Chase Brown, Peachy, you're familiar with him because you drafted him.
Yes, I did.
And then you let him go.
That's right.
And then he puts up 23.2 points last week. And it's just like maybe the Bengals are figuring it out. We give the ball to Chase Brown. We mix it up with Zach Moss, and we could win a game. Chiefs get their win last week. Thoughts on Chase Brown?
Besides feeling stupid because I didn't give him at least 5 weeks to show me
First of all,
what he can do.
that is not stupid. That is fair. Fantasy football does not last as long as the NFL season.
I know.
We ain't got 5. Our week 5 is like pushing for a playoff berth.
Right.
Yeah. Like, you got 2 weeks to produce in fantasy football.
Yeah. He just, like you said, I think Cincy might be figuring it out finally, because they did look good out there. Now we'll see what they look like. They still got weeks to go and stuff, but I think that they might have something with Chase after all. So I don't have him anymore, and if you guys need a running back, definitely go pick up Chase, because I have a feeling that Cincinnati, like Breezie said, is figuring it out.
I think so. That's just my take on it. Mm-hmm. I think they're starting to figure it out.
I agree.
So we'll see what happens. But go ahead and get you a Chase Brown if you can. Listen, Kareem Hunt should be available in just about every league. He put up 10.5 points last week. I'm hearing he's going to be the starting running back moving forward.
I'm hearing that too.
And that means that activate the Chiefs offense is going to get a bonus. You might want to pick up Kareem Hunt. He can catch out the backfield. He can rush. Thoughts on Kareem Hunt?
Besides him already knowing this system like the back of his hand, yeah. I mean, when Kareem Hunt is out there, he's going to produce. So definitely, if you need a running back with all the injuries that Kansas City, it's definitely see a big workload coming for Hunt. I really do.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. I just feel like he knows the system. And you know what? He's just a running back. Like he just
Right.
knows how to play running back.
Just a pure running back. That's
Just
right.
pure
Yep.
running back,
Pure running
and
back.
and I'm saying he just knows how to play football. Some
Mm-hmm.
guys just play football really well.
Yes.
He's one of those guys, doesn't need a lot of time to get reacclimated to the game. Xavier Leggett is our wide receiver one waiver wire ad for this week. He put up 19.6 points. I believe Adam Thielen is out, and it seems like since Adam Thielen is out, Xavier Leggett is in. And so, what are your thoughts on him? Is he somebody you're high on off the waiver wire?
The only thing that I want to say is it is really amazing that we have a Carolina Panther that is actually up here.
Well, we had
on
him
the
last
waiver
week.
wire.
We had Chuba.
But
It was time we had to pick up Chuba.
yeah, that's
and
right.
We did Andy Dalton. To be fair, this is 2 weeks in a row we do got Panthers up here.
Because of Andy Dalton, though, is why
Correct.
you are seeing these guys up here. All the attention seems to be put on Deontay Johnson. I know because I have him on my roster. And even though
He did well last week.
he is doing well, more attention is going to start getting paid to him. So you're going to want somebody like Xavier Leggett, who is probably going to get more targets down the stretch. So I agree with this. I think this is really good. I feel like him and Johnson are making this offense look a lot better, along with their new quarterback in Andy Dalton.
Oh, it's all Andy Dalton. It's Dalton. I told you there was going to be a Packer that was going to make this list, and his name is not Jaden Reed. His Jalen Reed. Excuse me. His name is Dontavian Wicks, and this kid put up some points. I wasn't expecting him to put up 20 plus points. I wasn't expecting him to be a factor. But the injury to Christian Watson, boom, 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 you get this kid. And so, Dontavian Wicks, if they continue to find ways to take away Reed, Wicks stepped up. He sees the moment. Thoughts on Wicks?
You pretty much said my thoughts completely. They're focusing on Reed. So whenever they're focusing on one of your wide receivers, then you have to find another one. And Wicks seems to have a pretty good rapport with Love as well. So, yep.
Make sure you check him out. Mm-hmm. He's projected to get about 7-8 points this week. We got another Packer here too. My man Tucker Kraft, 17.3 points. I believe that's what that is. Sorry, my apologies. 17.3 points he put up. He's the number one scoring tight end last week. This is weird because these tight ends are starting to put up numbers. They're starting to put up, points. And we're finally getting some tight end. And it's changing every week. Last week it was Cole Kmet. This week it's Tucker Kraft. It's just a crapshoot. Got to look at the matchup. Peachy, thoughts on Tucker Kraft? And they got the Rams this week.
So I watched Tucker, and I like this dude. I like him a lot. And I think that he is going to have a big day against the Rams. I think that Love is going to find him often and always in the Rams, struggle with the tight ends. So I think this is a great tight end to have on the waiver wire. I'm sure he's available in a lot of leagues. If you need a tight end like I do, who's trying to race and trying to find a tight end, Tucker Kraft is your guy. Definitely.
Get him. Better pick him up. Listen, I know everybody is still hopeful that Isaiah Likely is going to bounce back. He was a week one performer, and he has been non-existent ever since. It just doesn't seem like they're using the tight ends like we thought they would over in Baltimore. At least they're not now.
Right.
And you need to tight end with production. You better get one with production. It's okay to let one go if you got to live waiver wire week to week. Get you a tight end. You live waiver wire week to week to get you a tight end. Here's our flex wide receiver, Wan'Dale Robinson. Now, listen, Malik Neighbors is dealing with a concussion. I'm not sure what his status is going to be going into this game, but he stepped up and showed out last week. He put up 18.1 points. All right, so you might want to look at picking up a flex option. The Giants do have Seattle, but I just watched Seattle's secondary get thrashed by Jameson
Yes.
Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown. You know what I'm saying? And so
On the ground.
on
just
the ground.
Everywhere.
My point is you
Yeah.
could use Wan'Dale
Yes.
somewhere. What's your thoughts on Wan'Dale Robinson, Mr. Robinson?
Wanted to say first about Malik Neighbors. It seems like he's more day to day. They're just going to take it as it goes and see what that is. So Wan'Dale is definitely going to be one that you're going to want to grab. I know he's available in almost every single league.
Every league.
Every league. This dude right here is also doing it, whether Neighbors is out there or not. I feel like Wan'Dale is still going to be okay. If you get him, put him in the flex where Breezie has him in that spot. That's a perfect spot for him right there. And we'll see how it goes. And if Neighbors is not out there, then you're definitely going to want to do that. So pay attention to this one right here, because this flex, it could save your week.
100%. I mean, he's averaging at least 13.2 points a week. That's on average. Like I said, he could be more involved. That can change. Check. I tell you what, he's the 22nd ranked PPR receiver, and he's averaging more points than Tyreek Hill. So just let that sink in. Like, let that sink in, right? Let it sink in. Like, that's what it is. Because I mean, you just need production at this point. Speaking of Giants, we got another Giant on here. We got a kicker. The first time we're introducing the kicker to the waiver wire ad. This dude put up 19 points. Talking Greg Joseph put up 19 points. Again, they're playing Seattle, and this might be a field goal game for this young gentleman right here on the road in Seattle. What are your thoughts on Greg Joseph?
I like this kicker right here. I'm actually trying to decide if I may try to drop Jason Sanders.
Oh, let him go.
Because this whole situation and whatever, and try to get him.
Let him go. It's time to play Peachy. Take the advice from Breezie. Play the waiver wire for your kicker. You can do it week in and week out.
Yeah.
Sanders, their team.
Not know. Everything about their team. I'm even thinking about benching Tyreek Hill.
What Usher say?
Like, I really
gotta
am.
let it go
Until they get Tua back or whatever they're going to do.
Doo-doo.
Tyreek Hill got to go to the bench. Because let me tell you.
Hold on to that thought. We'll get back to that real quickly. Defense this week, I'm sorry. I just don't think the Jets are good. And that means, and the Vikings defense is really good. They've played well against top offenses. The Jets are not a top offense. If I'm picking a defense to start this week, it's the Minnesota Vikings defense, and the Vikings are at home. I don't think you want to add to this, but if you do, be my guest, because I just don't. Sorry, Jets.
Only thing I want to say, Aaron Rodgers, swollen knee, the way he was talking to Pat McAfee. They may not have Aaron Rodgers. They may let Aaron Rodgers sit. If somebody else in there, is especially knowing that they are playing like one of the best defenses in the National Football League as it is. It is possible. Do not be surprised if Aaron Rodgers even plays. So I'm definitely all in on this Vikings defense. So if you can get the Vikings, I'm telling you what, believe them. They are the real deal.
They're the number one defense in fantasy in the league, and they still do. They still do. They're averaging 14 points a week. They have a total of 56 points, even though they gave up a bunch of scores last week. They only scored 8. They're averaging 14 points a week. Top 5 defenses, Minnesota. And here, check this out. I'm going to give you the top 5 defenses.
Okay.
All right. And I guarantee you 3 of these defenses are chilling somewhere on the waivers. You ready? Packers. They're averaging 11.5 points. Chicago Bears, 10.8 points. This is what they're averaging. It's because they had that one game, week 1, 24 points, and it's really helped them out. But since then, it's been 6, 5, 8. Be mindful. Denver Broncos are averaging 10.5 points a week. They're getting 10, 6, 15, and 11. And the reason why they're scoring high is because they're keeping other teams from scoring a lot of points.
Yes.
San Francisco 49ers is number 5 with 9.8 points. And then you got your Chargers is 6, Saints are 7th, Steelers are 8th, and Bills and Jets are tied for 9. So listen, It's gonna be interesting. Pick up one of these defenses, man. But if you see the Minnesota Vikings defense sitting on your waiver, sitting in the defensive pool because people just aren't sold on them, you better grab them faster than you can grab a bucket of water to throw on fire. I'm telling you right now, you want to go ahead and get them like ASAP. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, I like the little circles, man. Shout out.
Me too.
This is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. Oh, they still keep us in circles. That's
Okay.
pretty. You got me going in circles. Oh, we could do squares too. Oh, Hollywood squares. They done rounded the squares. All right. Let's see if we go back to there it goes. That's the full Monty right there. All right, Peachy, start him or sit him, and then we're out of here. You already gave me who you were sitting this week. You said you are sitting Tyreek Hill against, and they are playing. Who are the Dolphins playing this week? The New England Patriots, and you're sitting Tyreek Hill. I love it. I love it. Who you starting this week? Who's a must start for you?
A must start for me. Oh wow. Let's see. There's so many. I'm trying to think of one. Oh, you know what? Let's just go with Jettas. Justin Jefferson is a must start.
I like it. I like it a lot. Justin Jefferson must start. For me, my must start. I think you know what? I'm sold on Jaden Daniel. I think I'm starting him over
yes.
against that Cleveland Browns defense. I think
Yes.
the defense is not going to be enough to stop a mobile quarterback. He's leading the league in like completion percentage right now. I think Jaden Daniel might be just the real deal. His real test is going to be this weekend against that Cleveland Browns defense that has been pretty subpar this year.
Yep.
But they do got Myles Garrett. I'm starting Jaden Daniels.
I like that.
All right. And then sitting wise, man, like the Jacksonville Jaguars are 0-4, but their players are performing. I'm not sure who I would sit. I think Tank Bigsby is taking over for Travis Etienne. I would sit Etienne. If you could pick up Tank Bigsby, pick him up. He's more of explosive. He's more the explosive guy out there. So that would be my start and sit him for the week. Any final thoughts, Peachy, you got for everybody out there, the viewers that are watching?
I have to say this. Breezie's right here. I gotta I'm off of Kyle Pitts.
Oh my God! Throw him in the trash.
Off of
He put up
Kyle
0
Pitts.
points.
They are not using him. They're not doing
Please,
it.
Atlanta, trade Kyle Pitts to the 49ers.
Please, because they are not
Let me
using
put that.
this poor guy.
Let me put this tweet out there in the atmosphere.
My
Okay.
goodness. Mark Andrews, I'm literally there too, because whatever he needs to get himself back to form, to get reacclimated with this offense so that it's rhythmic and they can go together, whatever. But Baltimore is seeming to not miss this dude at all, or any tight end for that matter, and just use their running backs and a couple of receivers and Lamar. So I'm off Mark Andrews too, because I can't, just like Breezie said, this is a sprint, not a marathon. Like literally by week 5, your season could crash and burn just like that if you've not been winning any weeks. I got to put everything in that I got. I got to let these guys go. I have to do it.
Also,
We don't have patience for Mark Andrews to get acclimated by like week 8 or week 9.
he got a catch last week. I'm telling you, it's something about what they're not. The offensive coordinator there is just not drawing out the plays for their tight ends. I don't
Yes.
know if they're trying to just like rework him back into the system and make sure he's good with cutting and all that ability, but he's no longer a top tier tight end. I tell you what, none of the tight ends are no longer top tier tight ends.
Right.
It's time to live off the waiver wire for the tight end, and if you need a tight end, pick up Tucker Kraft. There you go. That's my
Yes.
final thought.
Very
Guys,
good.
thank y'all so much for tuning in to What's Your Fantasy. It's your host, the WayneBreezie. Crystal Peachy B will be back next week for our top waiver wire ads. Until then, keep it banging, baby.